Now at 5 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, an investigation is underway near Beaumont after the shocking discovery of 4 bodies found inside a home. The Coast Guard seizes 450 pounds of fish illegally reeled in off the Texas Gulf Coast. And we go over several new laws that have taken effect today in the state, including the controversial Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion ban.
We've cooled down, we've experienced some wind, but now we're looking at our first showers of the new year coming up very shortly, and we're going to talk about it very shortly as well.
Plus, the new U.S. rings in the new year with a record number of migrant surge and another potential government shutdown. You're watching 25 News now at 5. Good afternoon. Thanks for being with us. I'm Don Brubaker. Karina Garcia has the day off. Police near Beaumont are investigating the shooting deaths of 4 people at a home there. When officers arrived, they found 4 people dead inside this home in Orange on the city's east side. Authorities say all 4 people appear to have been fatally shot. Police say the deaths are being investigated as homicides. Police have not released any names of the victims. Over the weekend, authorities responded to a fire in a rear shed at 517 Breitling Lane in Wharton. The body of 67 Erasmo Don Juan was found inside the fully involved shed. State Fire Marshal investigators said the death was likely due to use of a space heater inside the shed. Wharton County Sheriff's deputies took 22-year-old Josh Garza of El Campo into custody. Garza faces 6 charges, including burglary of a habitation and theft of a firearm. Garza is in the Wharton County Jail in lieu of $83,750 bond. El Campo police arrested 26-year-old Abriana Cordoza. She faces 7 charges, including assault of a public servant. Cordoza is in the Wharton County Jail in lieu of $99,000 bond. Victoria is lending a hand to first-time home buyers. 25 News Now reporter Adarius McCormick is in studio with more on the new program. The city has already helped 1 family get a home. Is that right, Adarius?
That's right, Don. The City of Victoria's Community Development Block Grant helped a single mother of 4 achieve home ownership. Now, Don, they plan to do the same for a few more families. The CDBG program will offer funds to 3 more families. Each family will receive $5,000 for down payments and closing costs. To qualify, the family's household income must be under 80% of Victoria's median. They must be able to secure a mortgage with payments less than 33% of their monthly income. Applications are at victoriatx.gov. You can reach out to Zachary Wendell at 361-485-3375 for more details on the application. Don, the City of Victoria is also working with nonprofits like Midcoast Family Services to make this happen for those 3 lucky families. Back to you, Don.
Adarius, thank you. And now let's take a first look at your First Warn Storm Team forecast for the first time in 2024. Meteorologist Howie Gordon is here with a look at what's going on outside. Happy New Year, Howie.
Happy New Year to you as well, Don. So beautiful weather over the weekend, and just like last week for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, boundary came through, knocked down our temperatures after we were warming up into the 70s. The good thing is we're not quite dropping down into the 30s yet. That could happen later in the week as we have a few more fronts headed our way. For now, though, we dropped a little bit. Winds have elevated. We could see winds maybe in that 15, 20 mile per hour range coming up over the course of the next few days. And at the same time, okay, overnight tonight, 54, not bad, dropping to warmer than 60 tomorrow, but we could see some showers, our first showers of the new year. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a bit, Don.
Howie, thank you. Former U.S. Representative Eddie Bernice Johnson of Texas has died at the age of 88. The Democrat was born in Waco in 1935 and became a state lawmaker in 1972. She had been elected to the U.S. House in 1992, representing the Dallas area district for 30 years. In a statement, President Biden called Johnson a, quote, icon and mentor to generations of public servants, unquote. Vice President Kamala Harris called it a privilege to work with her in the Congressional Black Caucus. A 10-person family escaped a home fire in Austin early Sunday morning. Firefighters said 8 adults and 2 children narrowly escaped the blaze. Crews managed to put the fire out. They estimated damages to be around $150,000 for the structure and $50,000 for what was inside the home. Authorities said the cause of the fire was improperly discarded smoking material. Several new laws in the state have taken effect today. Many deal with taxes, including increasing tax cut for businesses. However, one of the most controversial laws bans diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives in higher education.
The long legislative year may be over, but laws passed throughout the year are still taking effect, in particular the ones focused on taxes and tax cuts.
I think there was nothing more important in terms of campaign promises and the trajectory of the legislature and of the party going into the session than property taxes.
While that doesn't include the sweeping property tax cuts, which have already taken effect, here are some of the ones that we've been watching. Senate Bill 3, which passed out of the same special session, will increase tax cuts for businesses by doubling the amount of business revenue that's tax exempt from $1.2 million to nearly $2.5 million. Doing that, lawmakers say, will exempt some 67,000 businesses from paying the franchise tax.
While, its impact will not be nearly as broad as the residential property tax reduction, it's still likely to be noticed by particularly small businesses in the state.
Other new laws expand tax exemptions for the elderly and charities, but one of the most high-profile policies becoming law on Monday focuses not on taxes, but on higher education. Senate Bill 17, one of the most controversial policies out of the legislative session, will ban diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives at public colleges and universities. Democrats have long criticized those policies.
DEI is essential to continue cultivating environments where all students and faculty feel represented and supported.
Nearly a year ago, after Governor Greg Abbott had reportedly called on public institutions to stop considering diversity in the hiring process, UT Austin had paused its DEI initiatives. Come Monday, that pause will be solidified with a statewide ban on diversity, equity, and inclusion policies in public higher education.
The migrant surge across the southern border hit a record high in December. Border Patrol agents encountered 300,000 migrants last month, which would be a record high. Also, Customs and Border Protection processed on average between 9,000 and 10,000 migrants each day in December. The surge still continues. A caravan of thousands of migrants are marching through Mexico toward the U.S. border. Organizers estimate 7,500 people from 24 different countries are part of this massive group. Lawmakers have returned to Washington, D.C. for the holiday break this month with a list of New Year's resolutions to tackle. Migrations at the southern border appears to have reached a new record. Ukraine and Israel are desperate for funding, and another government shutdown could be in the distance.
The U.S. is ringing in the new year with migration and funding concerns threatening to explode.
When you're talking about 10% of the budget to allocate for cities on this, that's unsustainable.
Preliminary government numbers show record migration at the southern border in December. Texas Governor Greg Abbott says his state can't handle the surge, so he's sending migrants north.
They're being told that they are in the city of Chicago, literally dropped off in the middle of nowhere. I find that to be inhumane and unconscionable.
Likely, we will see more people die as a result of the inability of governments to really address the humanitarian needs.
In Congress, both parties say they want to address the border crisis, but Republicans say it has to come first. That leaves Ukraine and Israel desperate for aid as they grapple with new casualties and destruction, some just hours into the new year.
I cannot come back to South Carolina and talk about giving aid to Ukraine and Israel if the border is still broken.
And that's not the only budgetary battle awaiting lawmakers after the holiday recess. The federal government is running on stopgap funding. Without a deal, it could shut down in about a month. I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
The U.S. Coast Guard seized more than 450 pounds of illegally caught fish from 2 boats in Texas waters. Officials took the fish as well as long line gear and gill nets from 2 boats off the Texas coast. 9 fishermen were taken into custody and they were transferred to U.S. Customs and Border Protection for repatriation. Just weeks ago, officials intercepted over 2,600 pounds of illegally caught red snapper from 5 crews with 16 fishermen from Mexico. The mayoral election right around the corner in Victoria. Current Mayor Jeff Bucknight recently announced his intention to run for a state congressional seat, a decision which has spurred a special mayoral election. Throwing their names into the hat, current City Councilwoman Josephine Solis, community leader and entrepreneur Carissa Winters, current City Councilman and local attorney Dwayne Crocker, project manager Peter Brown, technical director and Victoria native Jacob Sauceda, and business owner Bob Constantine. That mayoral election is set for February 3rd. The last day to register to vote is this Thursday, January 4th. Here's some more important dates to keep in mind for this special mayoral election. The first day for in-person early voting is January 17th. The last day to receive an application for ballot by mail is January 23rd. The last day for early voting is January 30th. And once again, election for Mayor of Victoria is set for Saturday, February 3rd. And speaking of the election, to learn more about mayoral candidate Josephine Solis, you're invited to a meet and greet set for Thursday, January 11th, starting at 6:30 p.m. at the Garden House Coffee and Espresso Bar, located at 1915 East Red River Street. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. Stay with us. A 10-year-old boy is facing a murder charge in the fatal shooting of another 10-year-old boy. That's straight ahead on 25 News now at 5. Also ahead, we have some advice on how to keep working on your 2024 resolutions all year long. In California, a 10-year-old boy is facing murder charges after police say he shot and killed another 10-year-old boy. 10-year-old Keith Frierson had been fatally shot at an apartment complex by another 10-year-old boy at around 4:30 Saturday afternoon. Police said the boy went into his father's vehicle to get him cigarettes and took a gun from inside before shooting Keith. Officers arrested the father and the son. They believe the suspected shooter's father tried to get rid of the gun. Investigators found it in a nearby trash can and discovered that it was reported stolen in 2017. Now the father is facing charges. A powerful 7.5 magnitude earthquake has rocked western Japan, and a tsunami warning has been issued. Japan's weather agency reports that aftershocks could continue for up to a week. There are reports of injuries and some people trapped inside buildings and underneath rubble. There are also reports of damaged buildings, power outages, and closed roads. The U.S. Geological Survey has reported at least 14 aftershocks, one of which measured at 6.2 magnitude. Insulin is becoming more affordable for millions of diabetics. Starting today, Sanofi's Lantus will be capped at $35 a month for many patients. It's the most widely prescribed insulin in the U.S. In 2023, the nation's two other major insulin manufacturers, Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly, also reduced their insulin prices. About 8.5 million Americans rely on insulin to survive. As many as 25% of patients have not been able to afford their medicine. It's that time of year when people begin their New Year's resolutions, but research shows that many people give up on their resolutions within weeks or even days into a new year.
From exercising more to eating better. If you're looking to make a change in the new year, you're not alone, but bad habits can be hard to shift.
Change is not like a light switch. It is a process.
Clinical psychologist Susan Alberts with Cleveland Clinic says the first way to help make resolutions stick is to be specific about our goals.
Our brains love to know the direction that we are going. So instead of saying, I want to exercise more, make a specific goal, such as 20 minutes of walking a day. This is going to make you much more successful in completing this goal.
Albert says to also be realistic. Setting goals that aren't sustainable can make resolutions fall flat.
This is because we tend to set behaviors that are too different from where we are at this very moment. Anticipating obstacles. This is a helpful strategy for continuing resolutions.
Albert says stopping a behavior is harder than starting one. So instead of trying not to eat any more junk food, she says to try setting a goal to eat more fruits and veggies. And finally, link a new behavior to an existing one.
For example, if you drink coffee every morning, but you want to start exercising, link the exercise to drinking the coffee. Have it be the very next behavior that you do.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Here's your viewer poll this afternoon. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. Here's the question. How successful have you been in keeping your past New Year's resolutions? Very successful, somewhat successful, not very successful, or not successful at all? Hey, we want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and I'll have an update on 25 News Now at 6. There was no jackpot winner in Saturday night's Powerball drawing. The prize has grown to an estimated $810 million. The next drawing is tonight. The Texas Lottery reports a $2 million ticket was sold in Tomball before Saturday night's drawing. The estimated cash value for tonight's drawing is $408 million. There have been 34 consecutive Powerball drawings without a jackpot winner. The last prize of 2023 was the fourth jackpot to exceed more than $500 million last year. Howie, have you bought your lottery ticket?
I'm going to do that pretty soon, Don. I sold you that car I was talking about. Well, what's going on this year? Oh, we can see our first showers of the year. We'll talk about it coming up straight ahead. Happy New Year, everyone. All right, so cloudy and cooler after fantastic weekend weather. That was all last year, though, so we're moving on to this year. So we have some winds through Wednesday. We get some 15, 20, 25, even 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Then rain as early as Tuesday, but then more rain later in the week. We're going to talk all about that over the next 3 to 4 minutes. So yesterday, 76 degrees. A week ago, Christmas Eve day, 75, 76 degrees. That cold front came down and knocked us down even below average where we're supposed to be at 65. Look at 2022. We were as warm as 86 degrees. That's my first cough in the new year on air. 86 degrees. Don's laughing at me. Okay, so future temperatures. Coming down for their highs. The lows not too bad. We were dropping into the 30s several days ago. We're not headed there yet, but a few days from now, another boundary will come down. We could start to see temperatures dropping overnight into the 30s with some spots, hitting that freezing mark potentially. Here's our wind. So on the gusty side, we're seeing some winds in that 15, 20, 25, even close to 30-mile-per-hour range in some spots. And we could see these winds pretty much today, Tuesday, and into Wednesday before they start to subside or start to let up. Here's our dew points. So what happened with our dew points? They went down, they started to go up, and now they're kind of holding on a little bit, but more moisture is continuing to move into the viewing area. It's kind of moving out ahead of some other storms that are headed our way, and those storms are going to bring moisture, and those storms are going to bring us some showers. So here's what happened. This boundary came through, bringing us really cooler air and some winds. Not a lot of moisture was associated with this boundary, but it's going to continue to push through. Then we're going to see a warm front move into the area. That's going to bring more moisture, and then storms from the west going to bring more moisture, and of course, we're going to see some showers. Got about a 60 to 80% chance for rain tomorrow, and then into Wednesday, we could potentially see some of these showers Tuesday night into Wednesday before all this activity starts to push out of the area and we start to dry off. High pressure moves in for a quick cup of coffee for about a day or so. When you look out to the west, what's going to happen is that boundary is going to continue to move our way, and this boundary potentially could bring us showers by Friday as that storm makes its way towards the crossroads. Again, today's Monday, probably later on in the week. It's going to start getting closer and closer, but I'd say maybe by Friday, this could push through, bring us maybe a little bit of cooler air, but going to bring us some showers as well. Here's a look at our future tracker. So here's what we got. Storms come in, got some areas of some heavy rain, and we'll keep an eye on this for some flash flooding, and we do get some heavy rain. A lot of the energy, for the most part, should stay out over the Gulf and over the open waters. But again, some of this activity could stay inland, as you see here, and we could see some heavy showers as a result. I talked about the high pressure moving in for about a day or two, clearing us off, but then I showed you on the horizon out there coming in from California, from Arizona, in northern Mexico. Those storms could arrive by Friday. Those could bring us some more showers to the crossroads. All right, here's our marine forecast. Here's what we got. So 56, that water is very much on the chilly side. Now winds, as you see, gusty here, gusting to about 25 knots. This will be small craft advisory criteria, so please be very careful out there on the waterways. These seas 3 to 5, occasionally up to 6 or 7. That is going to keep our bays on the choppy side. So this evening we'll be in the 50s, mostly cloudy. Overnight we're dropping down to 54 degrees, mostly cloudy skies. That's not too bad. I guess with the winds in there, that makes it a little tricky. And then for tomorrow, 60 degrees. But you see, 60% chance we got those showers for tomorrow. And looking ahead, here is what we have. So the rain for Tuesday, okay, we'll dry off as high pressure moves back in Wednesday, Thursday. Another boundary comes in. Moisture builds ahead of that front. And here we got some more showers. But then high pressure comes in again. We dry off. We get some sunshine for a couple days. And then right back to it. Here we were dry. And now all of a sudden the rain's moving in from every angle. For more weather, news, and sports, you can go to our app. That's at crossroadstoday.com. And that is free with any Android and iPhone. And now we go back to Don.
Howie, thank you. And coming up next on 25 News now at 5. In business news, 22 states are boosting their minimum wage in the new year. for New Year's Day, but 22 states are boosting minimum wage in the new year. Washington state will have the nation's highest minimum at $16.28 an hour. California, New York, Hawaii, and Illinois are also raising their minimum wage, but many workers may not feel the difference after pandemic-era labor shortages brought raises for low-wage workers. A new law went into effect today in California. Major retailers are now required to have gender-neutral toy aisles. It applies to retailers that have a physical store in the state that sells child care items or toys and at least 500 employees. The law requires those stores to maintain a gender-neutral section. Stores that don't comply with the law could face a $250 fine for the first violation and up to $500 for any subsequent violations. Stay with us. We'll take one last look at your forecast. Plus, Idaho brought in the new year with a spud-tacular performance. And now here's a look at what's coming on World News Tonight, right after 25 News Now at 5.
With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any other newscast. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast across all of television.
See ya, Tater. Boise, Idaho rang in the new year with a spud-tacular celebration at the state capitol. Thousands watched the 11th annual potato drop and fireworks display as they said goodbye to 2023 and hello to 2024. The giant potato dropped over the Idaho State Capitol Plaza. The vivid display lit up the plaza and shrouded the Capitol building with smoke. Another memorable potato drop celebrating the new year in Boise, Idaho, and it looks like there are a lot of French fries coming up there with all the fireworks. They dropped the potato and then boom.
Looks like Disney World. You can't even see anything. That's some thick. Our visibility was almost like that last night with the fireworks when you added the fog into the mix.
Oh yeah.
But as we were talking a moment ago, we cooled down, but we were in the on New Year's Day. We were in the 80s just 2 years ago. And I think I remember that because then the boundary came in New Year's Day night, and then cools down. It was off by about a day. But let's take one last look at what's going on here, Don. Here's what we got. So, okay, we cooled down. The winds picked up, but showers are on the horizon. We're going to see some rain tomorrow. You see some areas on the heavier side. So we'll get our first showers of the year, and it looks like to be a showery week. So 50s this evening. Overnight will drop down to 54. Then tomorrow, I got that again, 60 to 80% chance we see some showers. And looking ahead, we dry off, we get more rain again. We dry off and then more rain again, Don. We turn the sprinklers on for the new year.
Back and forth, back and
Back
forth.
and forth, back and forth.
All right, Howie, thank you, and thanks for being with us. We'll see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 6. World News Tonight with David Muir is next.